questions about what was discussed, you can ask the committee the question, and if it pertains to exactly what we're talking about, I'll do my best to answer it. I'll try to do my best to speak up so that everybody hears me and understands what's going on. Okay? And that way, everybody, when they leave the meeting, has a good understanding of what took place. Okay?
Yes, will we have a chance to get a copy of the video?
I'm not taking the video, so I can't.
No front gas and masks.
Gotcha.
Is there a chance we can turn this fan thing off so we can hear better?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm sorry. It runs the cooling system over there to keep it from getting damp.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, except the meetings from the previous meetings, there was no minutes for November, December, and January, so we don't have any meeting minutes to accept. We paid the bills. One thing that did come in was the withdrawal of Bridget for her RDA. She withdrew it, so we don't have to act on that RDA. So at this point, number 3 on the agenda would be the RDA for Ronald Palazzo. I'd like to make a motion to delay based upon inclement weather. Yeah, at the property owner's request, they called up. Essentially, we had gotten those large snowstorms, so we really couldn't make an appropriate determination. So I'd like to make a motion to delay. Second. Okay. So we'll close the hearing for Ronald Palazzo.
Adjourn.
We'll adjourn it. Thank you. We'll adjourn the hearing for the Ronald Palazzo RDA.
Until March.
Okay. We'll open up the public hearing for the NOI for Boyd. Again, at the request of the property owner and our inability to do a proper assessment of the property based upon the time of the year and the snowfall, I'd like to make a motion to delay that till March, the NOI. And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn so that we can move on.
Second. It's until March.
Yep, until March. And that was very quick, Brian, so I'd like to open it up to Brian, representing Kinder Morgan, and you have a few items that you'd like to go through.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to see the commission again. It's been a while since I've been here, and I thought it was an appropriate time for me to come by and provide you folks with an update as to where we stand with that expansion project. So as such, I thought some of the things I could update you on the permit status, kind of our tentative schedule that we have, and maybe just discuss some of the outstanding conditions, and hopefully start chatting a little bit about some pre-construction meetings that we're required to do per some of the conditions. So with that, I just wanted to just jump right into it. So obviously, as the commission knows, in order for us to begin constructing the project, we need to receive a notice to proceed from the FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. That request is still pending. It was filed again last week, 2 weeks ago, excuse me, and FERC has yet to move on that notice to proceed request. So at this time, we're still not in a position to do anything.
Right. So if you don't mind, just because I don't deal with the federal regs too much, you said filed again 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So we refiled that request to be a little bit more specific as to what we were looking to do, what we were looking to grant permission for, and essentially it's tree clearing.
Okay. Thank you.
That request is for all the roofs, not obviously just Sandisfield, but obviously that's all the folks here know. So since I last was here, we've received our 404 from the Army Corps. That was issued to us on January 13th of this year. There's a number of conditions in that permit as well. Many of them mimicking the 401 that was issued back in June of last year, June 29th to be exact. So currently we have our 404, we have our 401 in hand, and as most folks probably in this room and you commissioners are aware, that is pending a legal challenge in kind of two circuits, not two circuits, and two paths. So currently at the First Circuit Court of Appeals, as well as through the Mass DEP appeal process. It's an administrative process. So.
Excuse me, Brian.
Yep.
Everybody is out there, and you're facing us. So if you could kind of put your chair sideways. Give
So-
them a chance to hear better.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
When you get a chance, Frank, could you provide the commission the 404?
Yes. I'll get to that.
I think that's part of,
Yep.
conditions.
Okay. As of last week, one of the reasons we were looking to file our notice to proceed again is we've completed our MOA process, so that's on the document as well. That was signed last week by ACHP. So currently, that's about the update I have for folks regarding our outstanding permits.
Did you get an NPDs?
We have filed for that as well.
Okay.
It's a recent file, so the NIPD's permit has been filed as well, or the coverage under the general.
I think that's automatic anyway, right through the website.
Yeah, it is correct, due to the PA website, so.
Am I correct that you have to have all your permits before you can do anything?
Before they can start construction.
Yeah.
We have to have all applicable permits before we can start
Right.
construction. Essentially, the FERC has to grant us a notice to proceed before we can do the construction.
Did you make up your list of the dates that you wanted to, because didn't you tell me you had to have it done by March 31st?
No, what I was mentioning to you as part of one of our conditions here at the local level, we have to coordinate with you folks for a pre-construction meeting, and then also a pre-construction review of our SE controls that will be installing prior to clearing the trees. So I'd like to start brainstorming, that with you folks as to what some dates might be amendable for you to do that. We're kind of looking for the end of March time frame to have that meeting. So.
Well, I guess the question from Claire was, March 31st comes, can you start clear cutting?
We can clear after March 31st, yes.
As long as you get the notice to proceed.
Precisely. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
So I guess these are some scheduling questions. So
Right, because we have to coordinate with Emily.
yeah, correct. So you folks let me know how you want to do that. I know there's a condition here that states that you may be looking for services to help you out when we get into construction. So we can certainly work with you to however you want to do that. I think the commission said that you're going to request a scope of work from her, and
Yep.
you'll provide that over to us for funding. So.
Right. So, the dates will help us understand the timing on that, when we're going to have that done. We started that discussion already, so that we can be prepared for that.
Okay.
She's got to work the dates to fit her schedule too.
Right. That's
Okay.
right.
And then Kim Morgan has to okay it
Well,
and put the
yeah.
money up front.
Yep. So.
And then the Dropbox, which you said you had set up.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll use Dropbox per se, but I mean, AECOM's got an FTP site, so we can certainly utilize that. And one of the other things that our environmental inspectors will have, I can let Dennis talk this program a little bit more detail, but they will have tablets. They'll be doing their inspections on their tablets in the field.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they'll submit them to me for review, and then those will be uploaded. And I
To your site.
Yes.
And you give us a password and
Correct.
username, we can go in and pull stuff as we
Yeah,
need
so
it.
we won't be flooding your inbox with those reports or loads of photos or anything
So
like
what
that.
we get is a lot of requests for those records.
Mhm.
And when we got hard copies, people have to come in, and then we got to find them, we have to schedule, and it's just a little burdensome. Electronic records, I think we can attach to an email and send if they're small enough.
Yep, and I don't know how that would work. We can get into the fine tuning of how constituents, but it'll certainly be made available for you, and that'll be, so you won't get too many large attachments, things like that, that'll bounce back to us.
So I gotta look and find out what's required on our end as well, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, I don't know if we'll be allowed to leave them on your site, we might have to take everything there and keep a copy somewhere here.
And they will be able to be brought down, they
Right.
can go up and then they can come back down, you can download them to
Right.
wherever.
Right. So I just gotta figure that out, we've got a lot of data here, that's why I don't think we have anything.
No.
Yeah,
That's all
and,
you
and,
need to
and,
know.
I think most of the largest portion of these files will be photos.
Photos,
Yeah,
exactly,
so,
yeah.
as you know, that'll take up a lot of space, so.
A lot of space, and if we had a printer, and a lot of ink.
Yeah, it'll be flash drives or, you know, maybe we'll have to get a storage disk, hard disk and put it all on that.
I don't know if our computer will handle it.
Yeah, we'll have to buy an external, I think, or something. Okay, we'll figure that out, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that'll
I
make
think,
things go smoother.
typically, you know, Dennis and Craig, typically, most of the photos you're gonna see is if there's an issue that we can work with and correct. I mean, we're not gonna just take pictures of, you know, the
Of rocks and logs,
Yeah,
I
you
think
know,
some
so,
requests for it.
you know, we'll certainly have a good representation of what's going on in the field, so folks will have an idea, but,
Yeah.
you know, most of those inspections will let us know, hey, you know, you have to replace this, or this silk fence is a little loose, you can tighten it up, things like that. Okay, so, I think I already covered the NTP, so some of the things we have to do pre-construction, reflagging the buffers, reflagging the wetlands, obviously doing the SE controls. And then now that the snow is all melting off, we plan on beginning to get out there and do that work to identify or reflag all those resource areas. As well as, you know, we're preparing our contractor to get the SE controls in place for pre-tree felling.
So you-
Before the next snow comes.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're gonna start ENS before, you get your permits, or you're gonna wait for your permits?
And, you know, if your condition allows us to do that, you know, pre the meeting, I think we're right now aiming to get out there to begin doing that around 3:15, so.
Yeah, I think the condition, and I can look up the numbers, says you can't start,
Like 29 or 30, something.
can't start until you get all your permits, right? 27, 29?
Well, it differentiates the setting up of erosion controls.
Correct.
It's kind of a pre-construction measure, which has to be
Yep,
done.
I agree,
And then-
pre-construction,
Right.
it has to be done, so that when we have the meeting, we can review it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, if you put all the
Yeah, so like 29.
erosion controls up, and you don't get your permits, they're just gonna sit there and
Well,
rot, right?
it's important to know that we have all our permits, it's just a matter of getting our NTP and working obviously through the, you know, the appeals process or 401, but you know, we do have those permits, so.
Well, the,
Don't you have that first?
Yeah,
you got-
first, the notice
you got
to
one
proceed
still
from
tied
first.
up in the
Yeah,
court,
of
yeah.
course, correct. But, I mean, but it was, I mean, it's been issued, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at condition 28, you know,
Yeah,
it
that's
says
the one.
prior to the start of any activity on the site other than the installation of erosion controls and flagging.
Yeah.
So those are kind of, you know, pre-construction measures that jump out before the start of construction, actual project work.
So some of the outstanding orders and conditions we need to do is 24, getting folks the contractor training certification. So
Yep.
we are planning on doing that training next week, I believe it is. So we will shortly, in soon order, have that and be submitting that over to you. So number 27, 2 weeks before any activities, we're gonna get you some alignment sheets and all that. Those haven't changed since the ones plan of record. So, you know, we can resubmit those to you if you folks want, but they have not changed. So certainly that's up to you, depending on how much.
Yeah, the wetland restoration planning plans are revised in accordance with the Mass DEP, Army Corps of Engineers comments, right? We accepted those because they were essentially species and size, and it was based upon their recommendations.
Correct, yep. And I think we talked about that prior to getting the 401 issue, so that did carry through. That was, you know, that was us just knowing that was coming, and that did come through.
So, S&E drawing, boundaries of work, none of that
That's
stuff.
almost changed. Our alignment sheets, our FEMA drawings, our wetland restoration concept plans, they're all the same for the plans of record that you have. inspectors, we've already submitted that to you, so you folks have reviewed and approved. That has not changed. Pool certification for the Borough pools to natural heritage. Prior to commencement of work, that will be completed. We have that data, and we'll be filing that shortly. Certainly obviously before construction. One of your conditions, 66, was done with the Fails property and being conveyed over the Mass DCR. That process has begun. It's going to take a while because, as you may know, DCR has to formally go through their internal process to accept it. But we have written documentation from DCR that will be accepted.
Right, that's, in that condition, right?
Yeah, correct. And then, we have a condition 73, we need to get some clarification on our seed mix, and then we will also provide that to you. One of the conditions from Mass DEP was they wanted us to alter or modify one of our proposed seed mixes, so that will come over to you folks as well. The next thing I want to chat about is kind of during construction. Obviously, that's when you want to make sure that you folks are getting everything that you need. We obviously got a lot of conditions to follow, so some of the things we wanted to chat about is how to get it to you. I think we kind of talked about getting you over the inspection reports through our electronic system. Some of these things we wanted to make sure if you want them to come in email or if you want to use the FTP site. I think obviously FTP site will probably work best, but the weekly reports, I don't know if the program's going to aggregate those and spit it out, and you can just do it through there.
I think so.
Okay.
And that was 77 you were talking about? The forms, at least 14 days prior to commencement of work, the approved qualified scientists will submit the commission completed pre-construction wildlife habitat.
That's been done.
Yeah, I believe that's been done.
That was done last March.
Date submitted or completed March 30th, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah, and didn't require anything from the commission.
Correct. So this is just now, what we need to get to you folks. This is when we're in construction, weekly reports, weekly photos, the Board of Health, the VOH, 48-hour notice before we work around the Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
We have to do daily reports when we are removing the Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
And then we need to seek written authorization from one of our landowners to do some invasive species removal.
Right.
As well as provide you folks with 48 hours notice of any blasting, if that's applicable. So those are kind of our in construction tasks that we need to make sure we're keeping you up to date with. I think between our FTP site and the inspection protocol that we're going to be implementing will work for you best. But obviously, you let me know if you want to make that happen.
Okay.
I just really don't want to, have your email box continually rejecting things or
I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what we would think. We think that'll work best. FTP site and or the.
Anything for one.
So.
He knows.
So that's really the update that I have, and then
Yep.
what I was thinking is obviously since we haven't seen each other in a while, I'm sure you folks get a lot of questions from your constituents, and I want to make myself and Dennis, I should introduce Dennis, we haven't seen him in a while, from AECOM, to answer any questions you have from process, procedure, or anything like that.
The question I had was, the tree felling, and you've answered that. That's federal regulation, so, not my jurisdiction, but I just question it, that's all. Anything you need from the commission?
Aside from some dates, aside from working with, I think I know he's going to be leading those one work
Yes.
with. Aside from getting that together and setting up that pre-construction meeting, that's the only two action items that we would need.
Would you have dates that we can tell her and see how it fits in her schedule?
I think the third week of March would be a good week to aim for. March 22nd. I know you mentioned, some commissioners, if you folks want to be out there, obviously most of us have day jobs, we can accommodate a Saturday site review for that's a control, review, if that would be helpful, but,
Okay.
that's kind of what we're thinking. If we get in there on 3/15 to lay out the SE controls, we think they'll be done within a week.
So you only need to see it only once, is that what you're saying, Paul?
And one for the pre-construction.
Pre-construction meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-construction meeting would be, if they got their permits and they're gonna commence with their project, right?
Yeah.
So we won't have a pre-construction meeting without your permits, right?
Yeah, correct. So
So you're saying you'll have your permits by 3/15?
we're
No, I'm sorry, you said you're gonna start S&E controls.
Right, correct.
And hopefully the week of 3/22, you would have all your permits to the commission.
and we have all that installed and those SE controls in place. Yeah. So one other thing that we were thinking about is obviously this is a lot of data, and I know, so if you wanted to maybe have, put in there some for Emily to review some of that, weekly, we could probably accommodate that as well to help you folks filter through the reports. So, some days they'll be longer, some days they'll be shorter. It's really dependent upon the activities that are going out there. And ultimately, we're not going to be working on 3.8 miles at once, so we'll be phased down range.
So between 3/1 and 3/22, you still have to get to the commission all the things that you just laid out as well.
Correct. Yeah. We have to get you those outstanding.
All those outstanding things would have to happen prior to a pre-construction, correct? Okay. Just want to make that
Well,
clear.
well-
So, no,
Yeah.
the vernal pools, the forms, what else was
So
outstanding?
the forms have all been submitted
Yep.
in last March. I don't think there are any additional forms that haven't been submitted.
Well, the form would be for the contractor certification.
Yeah, you gotta get a
Contractor
contractor,
certification.
right.
So we'll
You
have,
need to speak up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, so we'll have the contractor certification forms to you folks probably by the end of next week, if not Monday. We'll have those.
That includes what, invasive species training,
Yeah, yep, so this is gonna be,
equipment cleaning, records.
Well-
If you're bringing equipment into the job site, right, for S&E controls?
yeah, well, this will most likely be, so we're gonna have, training's gonna be ongoing, so we're not gonna have, for
You're not
example,
gonna
the
do it all up
welders,
front?
the welders aren't gonna necessarily come in now because we're not gonna be doing welding, so, you'll be getting the contractor certification for the folks that are actually doing the applicable work for at that moment. So for now, you're gonna get the tree clearing folks, the S&E control folks, obviously all of our EIs, those folks, that's where you would see that.
Right.
And then, when they bring in, the next crew, the trenching crew or the stringing crew or whatever, then those folks will go through the training, and we get their certifications over you. So that's kind of gonna be an ongoing, process.
Understood.
And that's just the nature of, we can't bring in, 300, folks and then send them back off to some other jobs. They're not gonna be just waiting around to do their one specialized niche, activity on the project.
All the copies of the permits, and then you're gonna send that by hard mail?
So I think the only permit you don't have would be the Army Corps permit. I can send that hard copy, I can actually leave you.
Yeah, we don't have the 404,
You don't have the 405, I could leave you my copy.
we don't have the NP notice to proceed.
Because we don't have that yet, yeah.
What I'm just saying is any that you have to
Yeah.
send on to us, send it through the regular mail.
Okay.
Please.
Yep, no problem. And what I'll also do, I'll send you I'll send you the copy, so you'll have both.
Well, my email was down for a while, that's why I'm asking.
Regular mail works.
Improper owner notification, isn't that pre-construction as well for them? If I remember.
I mean, it's actual conditioning, nothing about it.
Yeah,
See, I have all memorized,
And neither
but,
do I, so that's what I'm just
I've got
saying.
most of
I'll
the
go
100
through
I've got
them.
most of the 124 memorized, but,
Yeah, I'm gonna go through them, so if you're
Yeah.
missing anything,
yeah, well, I would,
we might not be there for the
yeah.
pre-construction meeting.
Trust me, if I'm missing something, Comm won't be there for the pre-construction meeting. So yeah, we will, I'll look to see if we need to provide a notice. Our landowner, we have a land department, they take care of our landowner notifications, I think they're pretty thorough in that, but I will, I'll look and see if I can dig out that specific condition, and we certainly can send that over to you.
Right.
And if it's not even a condition and you want us to provide you with that notification, then that would be a problem for us.
The 3/22 meeting, do you want Emily at that?
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
need
I
it.
just wanna know if
Yeah,
I'm gonna call
yeah,
tomorrow.
the week of 3/22, whatever it was.
22 is on a Wednesday. It's the night after the day after we have our conservation meeting for next month. The week the 21st.
The 21st, we can meet, I just don't.
No.
Yeah, you said the week, so I was
Yeah.
thinking that was Monday, but Monday's the
No.
20th.
Yeah, because that's a week after, you know, we.
So anytime during the week of the 20th, is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
I have to give her a date. I can't go at any time.
Oh, no, what he's saying is any,
He said 22nd, right?
but if the
Yeah.
22nd isn't good for her, the 23rd
Right.
is good for him.
You'll move it around,
Right.
but I want to give her a date to start looking.
Yeah, why don't you provide her that week, and then let me know what's best for her.
Okay.
And if there's strong pushback from my construction people, then, you know, we'll propose alternatives. But I think you'll find we'll be pretty accommodating.
I think I got the ones that aren't complete, not highlighted here, Brian, so.
Okay. Yeah, if you.
I'll go through them and double check based upon everything that you just updated us with. Are there any questions for the commission?
More of a comment. The DEP appeal, the commissioner is supposed to come out with his determination on March 27th, and that could possibly still be appealed and go to federal or continue in federal court.
Okay.
I have a question. How are they already applying to FERC for their permit when 401 is caught up in appeals? I don't understand why they're presenting to FERC at this time.
I don't either. They can apply for the permits as they see fit, so
But they
that's
can't- they can't-
federal, so we don't get involved in federal. Right? So,
Well, there's federal rules to protect, you know, other state parks in your town, so I'm not sure why you're not involved with federal.
We're only engaged in state law.
So
Here.
they're applying for a federal permit, and you're asking me
Right.
why they applied for a federal permit, and what I'm saying is, I don't know what the regulations for applying for a permit, what the minimum, you know, to apply for a permit, essentially says you're gonna fill out the paperwork and submit it.
Okay. So can they answer my question if you don't know?
I mean, that's something that's
I-
outside,
yeah.
yeah, there's something outside the Conservation Commission here's jurisdiction, so I would say you could ask that to anybody that handles FERC permitting, and they could probably answer it better than we could.
Hi, I have a few questions. One is, I have a really hard time hearing,
Yeah,
and I don't know if anybody else did, but I could not hear
Yes.
most of what happened here. And I would like to be able to have access to the transcript that's produced here for public use.
I do
Also,
not take,
excuse me?
I don't take down every word that's said as a discussion.
I couldn't hear you, sorry.
I don't take down in my notes every word that the.
I thought somebody was
said.
transcribing.
I'm
Oh, you know?
an observer.
But
and
No.
Jane is
Right.
recording it.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to know
Assuming
for
it-
public information, the full names and positions of these people in front of you. I haven't heard that. And I'd like to also ask them if they've read Article 97.
oh, like I said, you can ask the commission questions, that's what I asked in the beginning.
Okay, could you ask them if they've read Article 97?
Have you read Article 97?
I can imagine we're very familiar with Article 97, you know.
We can't hear you.
They can't-
He said yes, he's read it, yeah.
Both of them have?
So, hold on, let me,
Understand it?
what's
But it's
that?
important to note that Article 97 is that kind of outside the bounds
Sure.
of the Conservation Commission.
And they
Yeah,
asked
we
if
know
you-
that.
I-
I know you folks know that.
So my name is Paul Goddard, I'm
Thank
the
you.
chairperson.
Brian, you- Sarah, if you would introduce yourselves.
I'm Brian Benito, I'm a senior environmental permitting specialist at
Thank you.
Comm.
And I'm Dennis Lowry, I'm a wetland ecologist with AECOM.
Thank you.
I was under the assumption that the Migratory Bird Act didn't allow tree felling after the end of March, but they're saying you are allowed to cut within April.
So I asked that question,
Yeah, that's
and the response back from them was, if they get the notice to proceed from the feds, they can proceed.
So that act is a state act?
No, that's federal migratory bird, I believe that's federal.
Yeah, so that's, okay.
So that's outside the commission.
That's out of your.
You know, and I can check,
Yeah.
because it's in, you know, it would impact,
Yeah, thank you.
And if you'd like, I can provide you, it's on the dock, it's on the FERC docket, but I can.
right, so that will be provided
No, I mean,
with,
no, it would be, it's not a permit, so, but I'm not telling you as a
Yep.
professional courtesy, I can provide you with the information if you'd like.
sure, thank you, yeah. Go ahead,
So
sir.
I do have a question about the ownership and property of the hemlock trees themselves. Once they're cut, they belong to state forest. And what happens to those trees once they're cut? Who owns them? Where do they go?
You could ask the state that.
You don't know?
I don't have an answer for that, no, sir.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I'm more worried about protecting the wetlands than who gets the trees. Okay?
I'm worried about all of it.
So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
something
with
I'm not gonna get into, you know, that's the state's property, that's the state's, as far as I would be concerned, that's the state's,
Okay.
so. Go ahead.
So there are also two state endangered species, one the American bittern, the other the sedge wren, so what is being done to protect them, because they're basically, I'm a bird watcher, so I do know, I've just seen courtship with the American bittern probably somewhere early in May. And these are incredibly slow-moving birds. If you ever seen one of them, they're like reeds. That's their survival strategy. And they're really cool, very precious. And if you ever went to see one, you wouldn't want to destroy their habitat. And certainly you wouldn't. But that is my concern about this and the tree felling. And so forth, happens at least before they're able to procreate, blah 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 blah. All those things, it may impact the local populations. So
you're asking me?
I guess that is part of I ask you to. I don't know what I'm asking you. I'm stating what's happening. Okay. And I guess I am speaking on behalf of those birds, just because they have no voice. And I'm asking the people are good friends over here too.
I love bitterns and I love wrens. Believe me, I've seen them in the wild. I do like the wildlife, and I think everybody here respects the wildlife that we have left. That is outside what we handle here as far as endangered species comes in the permitting process and gets reviewed by the Mass DEP, and the federal regulators look at that as well. So that gets handled there. For us personally,
I see it's just about the tree felling, I think. I mean, it's just,
right, so the tree felling is your concern, right?
Yeah. Right. At the early stage.
And I hear your concerns. And when I ask you questions, the questions we're dealing with here, because it's not an open public forum here, is what we had discussed. If you have any questions that directly what we're talking about, like you didn't hear and you need something, or you have a question about an order or something that we talked about, if you could, please. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just in a butter, but since the ACHP and the whole arrangement has perhaps changed some of the area of effect, I would like you to find out if that has had any change to any of the erosion controls that are going to be put on the properties. And
okay.
If it hasn't...
You're an acronym ACHP? Can you expand?
The ACHP is the American Council on Historic Preservation.
Yeah.
And when it was determined that there were ceremonial stone landscapes, they are to be avoided, which theoretically should change which trees are coming down and, where the markings are. And none of us are actually allowed to know where these are. But as the Conservation Commission, your job does kind of interact with that. And you should know where the erosion controls need to be. Because they're not going to be in the same place if the trees aren't coming down.
So the erosion controls, the delineation on the erosion controls will be in the plan, and the plan will be reviewed at the pre-construction meeting, and all the boundaries will be flagged, and that's at that time where we...
Okay, but you do not have, I guess I'm asking, do you at this moment in time know what the changed layout of area of impact is?
Regarding which? Because
Oh,
I
okay.
have the plans, okay?
All
I have
right.
the plans.
Oh, okay, you have
and
plans
again,
from some dates.
If this is a question of what we talked about, that's fine. But this is not a public hearing, and we're not going to get into a lot of discussion about what we didn't talk about.
I know.
Okay? So if you want to raise something to the commission that we should be aware of, I appreciate it.
Okay, what you're saying is the erosion control plans that you have as of whatever date you have them
Yeah.
are the erosion control plans. And if they are planning on putting something else down,
They
then
have
where
in the
what
order.
you have, then they probably should submit it to you. Is that correct?
So in the order, it says that they have to, if there's changes to that, update it 2 weeks prior to the pre-construction meeting,
Awesome.
I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi. I had trouble hearing too, so forgive me if you went over this and I didn't hear it. Did I hear something about there's still a property owner that needs to give approval to go through their land? Is that what you were saying tonight?
To do invasive species remediation. So
Which means, if you don't
what they said was, some of the property owners were very concerned about invasive species, and rightfully so. And they said, this is our concern, what are you going to do about it? And Kinder Morgan said, well, here's our invasive species plan, and by the way, we'd be willing to help you out and go on your property and remove some of the, or spray some of the invasive species, based upon the plan.
Okay.
If they had those on their property. So prior to that, there's an order saying that the homeowner or the landowner has to give them approval to come on their property and perform such function.
Okay, thank you. And one very general question that I should know the answer to, and I'm sorry I'm new to this and I don't. Where does this pipeline go after Sandisfield? Where is this heading?
Otis, right?
Back to the existing.
The new loop is what you're saying?
I don't know where any of this is heading. So yeah. Where's it going after Sandisfield and Otis? Where's this?
Oh,
Goes to Connecticut.
Sorry?
it's a big loop. It's going in, out and back.
Yeah, it's the existing line.
And where's the
Punching
existing
off
line?
the old.
Where's the existing line?
It's in that corner in Sandisfield.
And it goes to Agawam.
Okay.
We can't hear you.
Keeps moving
It
on
goes
to
to
Agawam.
Agawam. Okay, thank you.
That's right.
Okay, sorry.
That's right. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure, I felt like there were some points when you were both speaking and I wasn't sure that you were saying the same things or not. So I thought that you asked if at the time of the pre-construction site meeting,
Yep.
that you were expecting that all permits would be in place then, including the notice to proceed from FERC? Was that what you were asking for?
Yes.
Thank you.
So the reason for that is they cannot start construction, but it was pointed out to me under the order they can install erosion control.
Okay. So you wouldn't complete the
Pre-construction meeting without
Pre-construction.
permits,
Got
correct? Because there would be no need for the pre-construction meeting at that time, and something could change and then impact what we reviewed.
Great. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
It was a little hard to hear, so I was wondering if you could, there were a couple of dates you were talking about, March 15th, the 22nd, the 31st.
Yeah.
Could you restate for us what those dates are, and is there a point at which tree cutting is no longer allowed?
So again, with the tree cutting, there was a question whether the Federal Migratory Bird Act would stop this project from tree felling. And the response back was, if they get the federal right to proceed, then that would supersede that, I guess. So Brian said he would provide me some documentation that would help clarify that, which was nice of him. The dates that we were talking about, we hire a wetland specialist to help us out because this is a part-time for us. It's not our full-time job. So we would hire somebody to help us out. That would be their full-time job, to look at the documentation that's coming in and look at the project site for compliance. So the dates we would set out was to try to ensure that our wetland specialist could make the pre-construction meeting. So those dates were put out there, 3/21, the week of 3/20, but then we were looking at 3/21, 3/22 for that.
And so did I understand you, if they have started the cutting of trees, even if it gets up against that deadline of the 31st, they can go ahead?
No, they can install their erosion controls. Then we have to have the pre-construction meeting to review what has been brought up. There's a list of things that we'll review. The tree felling couldn't happen until after that pre-construction meeting. And all permits are in place.
At some point you were talking about the erosion control that is going to be put in place before all the permits are ready.
Mm-hmm.
What happens with the erosion controls? You were asking, you didn't want them to be left there if they didn't get the permits.
Right.
But we didn't really get a clear answer as to what will happen to the erosion controls if there's no permit. Whether they're going to be cleaning those up or not.
It's hard to say at that point, right? Because we don't know if this project will be approved in a short period of time or a long period of time. Right. Will they go back in and maintain the erosion control? Or at some point do we say, okay, the project's never going to go in and you need to go in and remove those? Mm-hmm. So I don't have a specific answer for you. I think as time progresses, we'll cross that bridge.
What specific erosion controls will they be using?
It's laid out in the plan.
Is it silt fencing or clear logs or biofence?
So there's a combination of things that are going to go in. Everything from straw wattles to straw bales and double silt and silt fencing, and I believe at some point there was double straw bales and silt fencing.
Because silt fencing,
certain areas.
Silt fencing does an incredible lot of damage to the environment.
Sorry,
silt fencing does a lot of damage to the environment. It's also it gets wrecked in the weather. A lot of times it's hard to get it out, after construction. As a conservation commission, you can request what kind of erosion controls that they can use. When they did the construction on Mount Greylock, they used only biofence. They didn't use any silt fences. So you have the authority to ask for specific types of erosion controls.
Their plan's already been approved.
Yeah. We went through that. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's my understanding that there are at various stages throughout the project monitors that have to be scientists, monitors, wetlands specialists, a biologist, for instance, who needs to be brought on prior to the erosion control work, I think, and approved by the commission. There's a number of specialists that the company is supposed to hire and get your approval on prior to the work. So I'm wondering if the biologist that's required prior to the erosion control, which you're talking about starting in 2 weeks, has been brought on by the firm, and also whether the scientists, their documents cite at least 4 or 5 will be the same person or different people with expertise, whether or not they've been identified.
That information was reviewed at a previous meeting, and it wasn't under discussion tonight. Okay. So we're just, again, trying to be.
Yeah,
you're talking about the erosion control starting.
We're trying to be polite and answer questions, but this is turning into a public forum again.
Okay.
What you just asked us has been reviewed. It's on record. It's been there. Yeah. So again, if anybody has a specific question because they couldn't hear what was discussed, please ask it. But if you want to add comment, please don't raise your hand. I'm trying to be generous here, but go ahead, sir. One last question.
Thank you. I am hard of hearing. I wondered if there was any mention in your discussion about the sacred stones and whether you consider that under your jurisdiction.
Oh, yeah, in previous meetings that was discussed, and there's people that have gone out and looked for that. Okay, that's something that I'm not an expert on, but that was part of the permitting process.
And is that in there?
That would be in public records, yes.
But is that in their, Kinder Morgan's consideration of their report?
It's all on public record. That has been reviewed, yes. That's part of the permitting process, yes. Go ahead.
This is not about what you talked about, and I really appreciate that you're really politely and very generously fielding questions. I think maybe it might be helpful for many of us who haven't been at previous meetings, if you could direct what should we do if we have questions that weren't part of this meeting? Should we email you so that I think that many people have things they would like to know? So how should we proceed with our questions, since it's not appropriate, and I think that we would like to respect, or at least
No, I
would like
appreciate it. So,
yeah.
If you have something specific that you'd like the records to see, schedule, call Claire, send her an email, schedule some time, and come in to review the records. Again, there's other people that have been following this project right along, and they may be a better, quicker source for information.
Right.
And then if there's something very specific, something pertaining to the law, you can email me as well. And I'll do my best to get you the right person or answer your question as well.
Thank you. They need to put it in writing and mail it to us.
Yeah, so an email?
Not an email, I have to have it in writing. Okay. And there's a good 2 to 3 week response time.
So let me
It has to be 10 days.
Expand on that. People call up and say, we want all the records. Okay. There's volumes of records. It's hundreds and hundreds of dollars to copy them because you'll have to pay for copies. So you have to pay for Claire's time. You have to pay for, the site that copies it for us and all that. So we're a small town. It's part-time. So I appreciate the question there. And we're getting calls from people that don't even know what they want. Mm-hmm. And that's difficult to handle those kind of requests. Mm-hmm. Send us all the permits. But we don't have all the permits because they're not all approved, right? Mm-hmm. So which permits, which project are you talking about? Sometimes people don't even know. So I appreciate the question. And again, if you have something specific, you can send a letter to Claire and set something up with her. Okay, go ahead, sir. You've been patient.
Just to clarify a point that I think you've already made, but did I understand that if everything else was in line, that tree felling could commence the day after the pre-construction meeting?
If the permits are all approved and all the conditions that require them to have completed prior to construction are met, then they could do that.
But you wouldn't have that meeting until all that stuff was already done. Is that correct?
Correct.
So basically, that's the next day is when tree felling could start.
They could, yeah. They met all the conditions of the permit. They have their S&E in control. We have our wetland specialists on board. Everything's been submitted, documented. We have copies of it. We feel comfortable with it. We go to the pre-construction meeting. Pre-construction meeting happens. Tree felling starts.
And
the project starts.
That date, I understand, you're still working on. Will that be public knowledge somehow when that's going to happen?
Everything that we receive, all the documentation is public record.
No, the date.
No, I mean, the pre-construction meeting. Will the public know when that's happening?
No way, how can you? There's no way for me to get out a notice to everybody. If anything changes, what I tried to do is to contact a few people that I know and let them...
Please, we can't hear if you're talking. Sorry.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is I can't send it. I don't know everybody. I cannot possibly. There's not enough money in the budget for me to send out something to everybody. What I try to do is call a few key people that I know and let them know. And there's a couple of people that email me once a month and say, is this your meeting, et cetera, and I just send them a quick email back. But if there's no way that I can contact everybody and say, oh, the meeting was such and such a date, we're meeting tomorrow, I can't.
Do you have a
Is
town
this something
website?
that could be on the town website?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Can you just post it on the website?
When I learned.
Yeah, we haven't received training
I
on
have to be-
getting the minutes up or getting
We
information
just
up
got
on the
it,
website.
the website is just now up and running. It has been offline, it's been wrong for months and months. And they've got it now, and everybody is taking a turn on training. My turn was last month, I was in the hospital, so that killed that off. And I have to set up a date, sometime this month or the beginning of April. And once I learn, I'll be putting it up on the website, but until then, it's useless, because you put it up and it's gone.
Okay, if you have motions to close the meeting?
Just one question over there.
Need one?
Thank you
Okay.
so very much.
Yeah, thank you very
This-
much for
this was really
making it a real
helpful.
public input
You know,
session.
it's good to be informed of what's going on, so. You know, we hear rumors that permits have been approved, we hear rumors that they're not, so it's good to hear that, you know, right from Brian, that they're, where they stand, so thank you.
And if somebody that's in charge knows that you want to come to a meeting and have a group this size, if you let me know, we could have gone down to the old town hall, so you wouldn't be standing here. I'm not sure there's enough chairs for all of you, but you wouldn't all be standing.
But we never know how many people will really be here.
And this is the only place we can meet.